Welcome to Euro Roundup, where we take a look at this weekend's results from around Europe. How's your weekend, Patty?
It was fun. How was yours? You had a big one, didn't you?
Mate, it was very big, is all I'll say. John Bad's leaving, dude. We were in Dublin. We'll talk more about that later. Our first winner, though, is RB Leipzig at the suggestion of Wysak Vendrakad. Pat, tell me some more.
Yeah, going into this game, the Red Bulls were 5th and Schalke were 2nd, and it was going to be a tough match. Schalke beat Red Bull on the first day of the season, 2-0. So this was their chance to get some revenge, and they did with a very impressive 3-1 win. Now, Schalke were actually unbeaten in 11 going into this match, and they had the second best defence in the Bundesliga, having conceded more than 2 goals on just 2 occasions so far this season. One was to Bayern when they lost 3-0, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
And another was to Dortmund in that 4-4 draw.
Okay.
Other than that, never conceded more than 2 goals. But Leipzig, on the other hand, had gone 5 without a win in all competitions. So actually, it was shaping up for a big day for Schalke. But Naby Keita opened the scoring, possibly in his last game for Leipzig. Obviously, they've come out and said that he's not going to go to Liverpool. But as we know, these things are changeable, especially when you've got a lot of cash at your disposal. But the club has now won every Bundesliga game in which Naby Keita has scored. That's 8 games. Pretty impressive stuff.
Weekend, that. Well, Schalke's now, though, hit back after half-time, but a goal and an assist for Bruma from Tino Werner put it to bed. Jean-Kevin Augustin also missed a penalty for Leipzig. Werner, though, he now has got 9 goals and 3 assists in the Bundesliga this season, making him involved in 40% of Leipzig's goals. It's no wonder that Real Madrid are looking into him. Hassan Hüttl's team, though, outshot Schalke 16-10, and that 6-shot difference was made up entirely of shots from inside the box, with RB Leipzig having 11 and Schalke having 5. But, as we said, talks are continuing over Keita's move to Liverpool, with the Reds apparently now offering another £15 million on top of the £16 million they've already paid in the summer. Pato, likelihood of this actually happening in January?
I don't know. I mean, Leipzig have enough money that you think they can say no. But on the other hand, if they can ring out 20, 25, then you start to think,
Getting me the 100 there.
yeah, maybe they will go for it. But I don't know. My guess is that he stays, and I kind of hope he does. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. Our first losers of the week are Real Madrid. This comes from @LujaJames. Thanks for your suggestion. But first, we go over to our amigo from Sky Sports. It's Guillaume Balaguer with his thoughts on Real Madrid.
Hello from the corner of my house where a lot of football is watched when I'm not in the stadiums. When Chris told me about collaborating for you, I thought I wouldn't like to just talk about the controversy of the weekend or the big result, but something that comes out by watching those games. And one thing I've seen this weekend, and I would love to know what you think of it, is of course Real Madrid continue their slide down into more and more difficulties, and even Klose was saying that they may actually be fighting for top 4. It may be a fight to get to top 4. So what's happened there? Well, quite clearly, Zidane is the kind of manager that respects the hierarchy. Whoever is the top guy, the top player, stays as top player, even if his form suggests otherwise, that it should be more competition within the side. And this year, players coming from the bench have only scored 1 goal. And generally, he does not want to change anything. He wants to use the same players that he won with. That, of course, imagine that happen at work. At work, the boss says, you're doing wonderfully, and you made mistakes, and you're not putting the same kind of effort, but he still says you're wonderful. Then you will drop your performance quite clearly. Collectively, everybody will be affected. The other way of managing, coaching, is perhaps the Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola way of doing so. Insisting in doing things in a particular way with coaching that makes the player certainly better, or at least have more answers to anything that happens on the pitch, and where the team, when the individuals don't perform, the team just sorts things out collectively. What I think is that the Zinedine Zidane way is an expensive way of doing things, because it lasts not a long time, 2 years maybe, and then after that you're going to have to change the players. You're going to have to get new players, and you selling the players that you have when they're in the way down. That's what Real Madrid are going to try to do, and they want Neymar. More on that another time. But the Pep Guardiola Klopp way, by guaranteeing that the team has got answers when the individuals do not perform, it's cheaper on one way, and I think it lasts longer. Because what certainly happens is that if one of those specialists, one of those players don't perform, you take them out and you try to put another one in that can do that kind of role. And certainly by making players uncomfortable and having competition within the side, and then they become uncomfortable because they never can rest on the laurels, that also makes the team better in the long term.
But what do you guys think? Does Zidane need to change his management style? Let us know on Twitter. And make sure you subscribe to Balangay's channel. The link is on screen right now and in the description. Now, Real Madrid. As we all know, they lost 1-0 to Villarreal and now fall 19 points behind Barcelona. They are 16 points. They are 16 points.
16 points.
They are now 16 points above the relegation zone. It was also the Yellow Submarine's first ever win at the Bernabeu, secured by Pablo Fornal's 87th minute strike, which apparently was also offside, his second of the season. It's also Villarreal's first win of 2018 and puts them just 1 point behind Madrid, although they do have one game in hand, which you presume they would win, though you never know at the moment. And Los Blancos, meanwhile, have won just 2 of their last 7 matches. Pato, what's happening?
It's inexplicable. I can't really work it out. Zidane described the loss as a hammer blow and refuses to criticise the players. But to be honest, they cannot finish at the moment. They had 58% possession, 28 shots to Villarreal's 10, 7 on target to 4. God. They had 11 corners to 0, which shows you how camped out they were in Villarreal's territory. Carvajal was Real's only outfield player not to attempt a shot. Cristiano Ronaldo had 11 shots. That's more than Villarreal as a whole. 4 on target, the same as Villarreal as a whole. In fact, Cristiano Ronaldo this season has taken 94 shots in the league. 72 of those have come from inside the box, but only 4 have gone in. There is some witchcraft in play right now, because somehow Barcelona are going unbeaten with a vastly inferior squad. I cannot figure it out. But when you've got people like Asensio and Isco, both of them now without a goal in over 2 months, it's not hard to see why things aren't going Real Madrid's way. Sergio Asenjo as well in Villarreal's goal had a really good game, made 7 saves, one of those at point-blank range from Cristiano Ronaldo. So a really good day for him. He did deserve the 3 points, though, like you said, the goal was offside. An amazing counter-attack, admittedly, but when the ball was played through for the first shot, which actually Keylor Navas saved, was offside, but Pablo Fornal followed up with an absolutely gorgeous chip. It's incredible. So if you haven't seen the highlights, check them out. Madrid, tough month ahead of them now. Valencia away in 2 weeks' time, always difficult. And then, of course, the first leg of that glamour tie against Paris Saint-Germain in the second round of the Champions League coming up on February the 14th. A Valentine's gift for Zinedine Zidane. Let us know whether you think they're going to go through in the comments below.
We move on to our next winner, Girona, at the suggestion of Swagato Sakar, the legend. Pato, why did he ask for it?
Well, Girona beat Las Palmas 6-0 to become the first side outside the Spanish Big Three to win a Liga game by that margin in 6 years. It also equalled their biggest ever win at home, which was in 1958 versus Avilés. My God, did they batter them. They took 15 shots and restricted Las Palmas to just 3. They're conceding 10.8 shots per game in La Liga this season. Really solid defence. That's actually fewer than Man United are conceding in the Premier League. And their star performer in this game, rather surprisingly, a 23-year-old Kenyan called Michael Olunga, who's on loan from Chinese side Guizhou Hengfeng. Okay, he started just once for Girona in the league, but got a hat-trick and an assist in this game. Became the first Kenyan to score in La Liga and the first Girona player to score a hat-trick in La Liga as well. He's currently involved in a goal every 34.5 minutes, which is a pretty decent hit rate. But for Las Palmas, my God, this was a horrific day at the office.
It's dire at the moment. It is dead. They are currently bottom of the table with 11 points and a goal difference of -32. The worst in the league, with the second worst miles better on -20. They've lost 14 of their 19 league games and failed to score on 10 occasions. Now, since the Liga went to 20 teams in 1997, no side has conceded more goals after 19 match days than Las Palmas this term, with 46 of them. They've conceded the second most shots per game in the division with 15.1 a match, and a whopping 70% of those shots come against them from inside their own area. That's not looking very good at all. Now, since Paco Gémez took over as manager in December, he has drawn once, lost 3 times in his 4 games in charge, conceding 12 in that time. They are now 7 points from safety, and next up, they have Valencia and then Atletico Madrid. Things are not looking good for them, but will they be relegated this season? Let us know in the comments below.
Our second and final losers of the week come from @Davis93, and he says Dortmund should be in there. Zach, I don't know anything about this. Tell me about it.
Well, you're about to, mate. Dortmund now sit 4th, only 1 point above Leverkusen and Gladbach after a goalless draw at home to Wolfsburg. Interestingly, Borussia Dortmund dropped Aubameyang. Party line was disciplinary issues instead of opting for the youngster Alexander Isak, who's yet to score in the Bundesliga, who hit the bar in this game as well, but he's very young and it'll be fine for them. We'll talk more about Aubameyang later on. Anyway, it's pretty damning for Schürrle, who came on in the 68th minute, has only started 1 game this season, making 4 appearances from the bench. Basically, mate, get out of there, otherwise you're not playing.
He is rubbish.
But the frame was as close as it got to the black and yellows, with only 1 of their 18 attempts finding the target. By comparison, Wolfsburg only had 9 shots but put 4 on target, with Berkey making a great save from Didavi with his leg. But Pato, tell me some more about the Dortmund side.
Well, the average age of the lineup was only 25 years old, and that was brought down by 17-year-old summer signing Jadon Sancho, wearing the number 7, vacated by Ousmane Dembele in the summer. Of course, he was brought in from Manchester City, and this was his first ever senior start, I believe. Now, the young Englishman hit the post, completed 4 shots, 3 dribbles, 85% pass accuracy from 39 passes, which is extremely impressive for a forward. Only 2 Dortmund players had more passes, I believe, in this game, so he was heavily involved in play. He was dispossessed twice, but that's not too bad for somebody dribbling so much who's so young as well. And maybe he should have done a little bit better with his shot, but he's actually the first Englishman to start for Borussia Dortmund, which is pretty exciting, I suppose. He's going to get some Champions League experience at quite a young age. Of course, we have to talk about the big news, though. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Where is he going to go? Well, I was going to say in the summer then, but actually, I can't believe that this is genuinely
could be happening.
Well, I mean, look, he's linked with Arsenal, isn't he? What do you think of that?
Look.
Because I need to contain myself.
Look, if you're Arsenal right now, it doesn't matter what you have to do. Get him in the club and then figure out what you're doing formation-wise with Lacazette. They can, but it's not like the problem you said earlier, where if they had Morata and Cavani. Both of them can play on different positions. I think Aubameyang actually played on the right for Dortmund.
Yeah, and Lacazette played on the left.
Exactly, and then if you get Malcolm into it, what a front line that is. Ozil. Assist for days, mate. 70 of them.
How many are we going to play at the back in this hypothetical scenario?
Let's not talk about the back, though. Come on, you've got Holding.
I mean, to be honest, if there's one thing that Liverpool prove, I mean, they've got a much better manager and a rigid system, but if Liverpool prove one thing, it's that having a really fast, really talented attack can cover for a whole lot of problems, right? Their attack is so good and so well balanced that actually quite often they get away with pretty mediocre players. I agree. I think Arsenal should probably get him, even though he's only 18 months until he's 30. I think he would guarantee our attack would be good for the next 2 years. He'd replace the goals that we lose in Sanchez. I think he'd actually, by running in behind, give that space to Lacazette, which he's lacked a little bit this season. And Lacazette's link-up play has been really good. Aubameyang's link-up play is really good. So that'd be quite interesting. Plus, I don't know. The problem is, I just can't see this happening. I don't know why he'd come to us.
Because my only worry here is, if he's willing to go, and Arsenal seem like the big club that's going to do it, why hasn't Chelsea got involved? Why haven't City got involved? Why haven't United got involved?
Real Madrid.
Exactly.
We just talked about Real Madrid. Like, I mean, that would make perfect sense. Or, Chelsea, we were talking about this earlier. If he were to go to Chelsea, who apparently are on the lookout for a striker, Conte has often preferred to play 2 up front in the past. And, of course, they might be able to send Michy Batshuayi the other way, which would be exciting for Dortmund because of course, if they sell Aubameyang now, they've got to go out and get a replacement. And I don't know who that's going to be.
I don't think Isaac is quite ready just yet.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think about the whole Aubameyang situation? Will he be going to Arsenal? Will he be going to Chelsea? Or will he stay at Dortmund? Or go somewhere else? Let us know in the poll above my head.
So we move into our new segment, which of course is the highlight and low light of the week. And my highlight this week is former Arsenal captain. I was going to say legend, but let's be honest,
Let's give it a minute.
he isn't. Thomas Vermaelen. When he left Arsenal and went to Barcelona, it was very funny because he was always injured.
Also got injured,
he was
yeah.
not remotely good enough for Barcelona, even at his best. And you know what? This season, he's been kind of great. Like, he had another good game as Barca won 4-2 away at the Anoeta against Real Sociedad,
quite lucky,
which
though.
is a place but it's a place they really struggle to go.
11 years
They
it
were
took them.
2-0 down in half an hour, but let's not talk about it. Like, Thomas Vermaelen, I don't know, I'm really pleased for him because he obviously always had talent. And also I think this is a good indication of sometimes when we talk about players going to big clubs, we talk only about like how good they are. Like a big club should only sign the best player in the world. And we ignore the fact that actually big clubs should also have players who fit their style. And Vermaelen does seem to sort of fit their style, I think.
Well, every game he's started for Barcelona in La Liga, they've never lost.
Really?
15 wins, something like 3 or 4 draws. 0 losses. That's brilliant. And keep in mind, at the moment, Umtiti's injured. It's not a bad replacement to have.
I feel like this is also partially, though, that like until recently, until Umtiti got injured, Vermaelen probably never started in the big games.
there is kind
so
of
it's just
that
like,
as well.
oh wow, Barcelona beat Levante with Vermaelen in the back line. What an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, and I think if you look at when he's come off the bench, he's lost a few then as well. But it's not a bad record to have. As we said, a decent replacement. He does the job, as you said, he plays well in the sort of style they have. But will he be there in like 2-3 years? Probably not. It's not a bad thing.
No, because he's old and rubbish, but who cares? Sell him to China or sell him back to Belgium, no one cares. Let's move on to the low light.
Our low light. I'm sorry to say, people, we've had negotiations. We've had transfer rumours.
He's gone on strike.
He's gone on strike. We've done it.
force a move.
We've offered him everything. We might even have to set up a donations page for it. But John Babb is leaving Football Daily. It's sad, Pat.
It is. I mean, he's shepherded us through. He's been like a father to you.
He really has.
Because he's
really has.
very old. But yeah, he's leaving Football Daily. I don't know why, really. Just out of boredom, I presume.
Yeah,
and his hatred of Joe,
And
principally.
that. It's not, and the whole in Stat. It's not him. It's not the real him.
No, he's
that's
a very thoughtful man.
He is. We went Dublin on the weekend for him. It was an experience, I'll tell you that. It was the most drunk I've ever seen him. Hilarious. But why don't you send me your thoughts? We are doing a hashtag Bab Hour later on FD on Twitter. You send your tweets to him, at me and Pato, at Joe and Chris, at George, at Football Daily, and we will get him to personally respond to you guys. So why not do that?
Are we going to do that?
Yeah.
The Bab Hour. The Hour of Bab.
So that was ERU. Did we miss out on any results? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, Bab Hour, be there. Pato, what else is happening on the channel?
Head over to Football Daily and check out winners and losers. Of course, stay right here and watch something like Stat Wars if you want to, acknowledge the loss of Bab. Hashtag RIP Bab. And of course, head over to 90+1 Facts and check out 90+1 Facts about Juventus. Make sure you're liked and subscribed as well. Bye.